Hey guys, how's it going? It's Rustabout Collector, and once again we're looking at another Halo figure. And today I really don't know how to classify this figure. Is it a Halo Reach figure? Is it a Halo Infinite figure? I guess we won't know until the game comes out. Clearly this is a Spartan 3 Mark V B armor variant, however, it came out in the Halo Infinite line, and some of the weapons are definitely Halo Infinite or Halo 4 or Halo 5, so I've kind of been wondering if maybe we're going to see a return of this classic Halo Reach armor in Halo Infinite, but either way, let's take a look at this awesome figure. This is of course one of the figures from Wave 1 of the new Jazwares / Wicked Cool Toys Halo Infinite series Spartan collection line. That's a mouthful to say, so I don't know if I got all that right, but this is a 6.5 inch Halo action figure. If you've watched my previous reviews, you've seen how it kind of stacks up beside other figures in a similar scale. But yeah, this is a really awesome line. I've been really digging it. I picked up all the 6.5 inch figures and a good portion of the 3.75 inch figures. If you are a fan of Halo, I highly recommend this line. First up, of course, we gotta talk about the accessories. First up is this weapon right here, which I think is like a heavy machine gun or something like that from Halo 4 and 5. I don't remember. I never played Halo 5. I played Halo 4 once. I am not the most experienced in that new 343 era stuff. I'm more of a classic Halo guy myself, but it's cool. It's got good paint apps. It looks nice. The sculpt is good. It's made out of that bendy plastic again, so it's not going to snap, but it could get warped if you're not careful with it. Has a peg hole there, which allows it to go directly on the back of the Spartan. Let's see if I can get that lined up. Can't get it lined up on screen, of course. The hole is like really only just big enough so it will go on, but it could also fall off fairly easily. So I've been thinking about possibly doing a magnet mod, drilling these out, putting a little magnet in there, putting a magnet on the back of the Spartan, and then just using magnets for these. But anyways, so there's that one. And then the second one he comes with is the classic Covenant plasma pistol, and this is definitely a newer design of one. I think this is like the Halo 5 version, maybe. So that's what makes me think that this is not a Halo Reach figure, but rather a Halo Infinite figure. The paint apps on this aren't quite as good. Something about it just feels off. Maybe it's the color, maybe it's the way they're applied, I don't know. It just seems, it looks a little cheaper, maybe a little bit fuzzier, the details are a little bit fuzzier, but overall, good sculpt. The figure holds it well, so I can't complain in that regard. Just the paint apps seem somewhat a little bit off. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And of course, he comes with a nice assortment of swappable hands, an open hand for his left hand? Left hand? Right hand? Left hand. This is the right hand open. Then he's got two fists, so that he can punch the Covenant in the face, and then he has a saluting hand. This could also work as like a motioning hand, kind of like a go that way. Or maybe like a karate hand, like whoosh, and you know, he like slaps the Covenant with his mad karate skills. But anyways, he's got those, and then of course what's on the figure are the trigger fingers so that he could dual wield, or you know, you can pop them out fairly easily, honestly. These are really well engineered. I haven't broken a peg yet, and I've swapped out these hands multiple times, so they go in and out pretty easily, and they look really good when they're like on the figure. So this could be like a motioning hand, it could be a saluting hand, although I don't think anyone salutes any militaries, that is, salutes with their left hand. I think it's always with their right hand. But either way, it looks really cool. It's a nice hand to have. I like the gesture hands that they've included. They're not all practical, holding a weapon hand. Some of them are just cool for poses. The figure overall is really cool, kind of plain, but in a good way. Like, it's not overly complicated. Just a standard white armor finish with like the steel as the secondary, kind of in a Halo Reach style look where the secondary is the legs and the arms. Nice paint apps overall. I don't see anything that's like, you know, off or anything like that. So there's little blue highlights here and here that represent like the lights on the chest and the other plates of the armor. Black details inserted where need be, and a little bit of weathering over top of the steel portions of the armor. And of course we have this really nice chromed out visor. One of my favorite elements about these 6.5 inch figures. Just looks so cool and really reminiscent of those classic Joyride Halo figures that I still love to collect out of nostalgia. These I collect out of the fact that I like Halo, but the old ones just have a special place in my heart, and you really can't beat them. As for articulation, it's pretty standard. Like if you've watched any of my previous videos with Master Chief or anything like that, you kind of already have the gist of what's going to be included here, but we'll go over it nonetheless. Of course, up at the top you have a double ball joint, so nice side-to-side tilt. Goes back only a little bit, goes forward a pretty good amount, and of course you have the articulation range to go all the way around in any direction. At the shoulders you have a butterfly joint, which kind of gives you a little bit of in and out. It doesn't work quite as well as I would like, but it's not bad. Then you have the standard hinge and a swivel here, all the way around, up past 90 and down. Then there's a bicep swivel that you can get really good range there. And then also the double jointed elbows, which gets you a pretty good crunch, pretty realistic as well. Like it doesn't go overboard with it where it's like, you know, touching his shoulder. I think that's a little bit overkill typically with figures, but this is perfect, well past 90 and allows you to get, you know, nice and tucked into the chest like that. Definitely possible to hold just about any weapon you can think of with these arm articulation joints, and yeah, really nice. Then at the torso, there's another ball joint, so this one is not as loose as Cat's. If you watch the video where I reviewed Cat from Halo Reach, that joint was all kinds of wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey going on there. Here, it's just a little bit of a wobble, but it still holds well in the different positions. Side to side is pretty good. You can get a crunch there and there. There's also a swivel at the lower waist, but it doesn't really seem to want to go anywhere, so it's kind of a reason to have that joint there, but it's there, so gotta make note of it. At the hips, ball joint and thigh swivel, always nice to see. You can get almost all the way up, but if you swivel out, then you can get all the way up. However, that does leave the knee at kind of a awkward place to bend there, but still, it gets up there. You can get it all the way forward like that. You can get it back to about there without it really popping back, you know, out like that. And then you can get it that far split, which is still pretty good, pretty solid. And then here at the knees, we have a double jointed knee, allowing you to bend it all the way back to there. Again, I like how they've sculpted this knee pad onto the knee there, so it looks a little bit more organic, a little bit more human. Sometimes with double jointed knees, it can be really tricky to keep it looking human and keep the joint actually functional. I don't think you really need this much articulation in the knees, but it is still nice to have and does allow for some really interesting posing possibilities. If you follow me over on Instagram, you've probably already seen how I've used this figure and Cat to recreate a scene from Halo Reach. And these figures are very posable, very photogenic. I like to use them a lot, and I've already got multiple new shots planned with them because that range of articulation is just really helpful when making lifelike poses. So definitely check that out if you haven't already followed me on there. Check out the link in the description to find the link to my Instagram and my Facebook, plugging it here, even though I typically plug it at the end of the video. But anyways, also here we have the ankle joint, which is a hinge and a rocker, so you can hinge it forward and back pretty well, and then rock it side to side. Again, really nice for those action poses. This toe joint is a little bit loose, not a big deal. He still stands up just fine, but they do have these really nice hinges here at the toe, giving you a little bit extra articulation there. And that is all of his articulation. Once again, and I feel like I am a broken record when it comes to these figures, these are awesome. The range of articulation, the detail, the sculpt work, the scale, and the price are all really awesome. For 20 bucks, you're getting all these exchangeable hands, couple weapons, a swappable head in the case of Cat, and just, yeah, I mean, what more would you want out of a Halo figure? Now, to be fair, I might be a little bit biased because I grew up with Halo and like it was one of my favorite game franchises. It still is to this day, and a lot of fond memories are put into that game. So getting a figure like this that represents characters that I loved playing as, you know, I'm going to be a little bit biased about that, but still, this figure is really awesome. Articulation-wise, posability, paint app, sculpt, I can't say enough about it. It is awesome. As you can see, he can hold his weapons really well. I've mentioned this before, I do wish that this trigger hand was an up and down swivel instead of the in and out swivel that it is. However, it doesn't really impede the posability or the articulation all that much. It could be better, of course, it could always be better, there's room for improvement, but it isn't that bad. He can still look down the sights really well, and he can hold it. I do wish that the open hand was a little bit tighter so that he gripped the rifle instead of just being kind of limp-handedly just like resting on it basically. But still, there's plenty of options for posing either on a shelf or in toy photography, whatever you want to do. It is really nice. And for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of giving him this like modernized weapon. I don't really like the design of this. It doesn't feel very Halo. So if you have an extra Chief figure, Master Chief figure, or maybe you just don't want to pose Master Chief with this weapon, you can give him the rifle that comes with Master Chief, and it feels much more Halo Reach-esque to have him holding this early assault rifle instead of the, whatever this is, the machine gun? I really don't know. The saw? I think the saw had a drum mag. Either way, it's better than this. I'm not a huge fan of this design. I am a huge fan of the classic Halo assault rifle, even the Halo Reach design. So you can definitely give him that, and he would fit right in beside Cat as a Halo Reach figure. I know in Wave 2 we're also getting Emil, so be on the lookout for that, because we'll be completing Noble Team faster than you might think. Kind of forgot to talk about this earlier, but you can pop out this little section of his armor and spin it around, revealing a peg that fits any of the sidearm weapons like the plasma pistol, magnum, you know, fill in the blank. Pops right in there, and that is one of my favorite innovations with these figures. It allows you to display them multiple ways. You know, if you don't want to have that ugly peg sticking out of the side of the leg, you just pop that piece out and slap this one in, and there you go. It's gone. You don't even know it's there. So that's a really cool addition to this figure, and again, it's one of those little things that increases the value, because of course that's a separate piece. Like that is cost on their end, that they have to mold a separate piece instead of just molding a peg into the figure. So really appreciate that they did that, and it's a really awesome addition. Now for a quick size comparison, there is the Spartan standing there. Here he is beside the Master Chief from the same line. I like that they've actually scaled Chief up just a little bit, because in lore, in canon, the Spartan 2s were larger than the Spartan 3s, so that is nice. Probably about a ½ inch difference there, so he's probably about 6.5, I'd say he's about 6 inches. Just to compare that, let's use this guy right here and be on the lookout for Purge Trooper review coming soon. There is the Purge Trooper beside him, so that's about the height difference between like your standard Black Series figure and the new Jazwares figures, and then of course Master Chief. Here he is beside my boy, one of my favorite figures right now in my collection, the Joyride Halo 2 Spartan figure. I really want to get more of these guys. These are awesome figures, and I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here. This was the OG Halo figure, the Halo line, the 7-inch or something like that, 10-inch line from Joyride, and they pioneered all of the best articulation in these Halo figures. And I really like that Joyride Wicked Cool Toys has come around and created this Spartan, who is really in a lot of ways reminiscent of what they started here with the Joyride figures. But anyways guys, there it is, the Mark V Spartan from Halo Infinite / Halo Reach. I guess we'll find out in the days to come, but either way, there he is. There's my review. I hope you guys like it. If you want to check out the link down in the description, you can find my Instagram, my Facebook, my other social media, my merch. There's also my P.O. Box address, so if you want to send anything into the channel, I will unbox it here in a video on the channel. And yeah, there you go. I hope you tune back in, because I will be reviewing more of these Jazwares Wicked Cool Toys Halo figures as I find them in stores, so be sure to tune in for that. But as always guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video.